Come on over here. A little bit closer, a little bit closer, a little bit. Perfect. All right guys, today we are going to be talking all about the Tesla roof rack system on my new 2021 Model S long range. So we recently did a full comprehensive video review of this vehicle. You can actually click it here. So check that out if you're curious about what a Model S actually is. But today is gonna be all about the roof rack system that is offered by Tesla. Now I knew that when I bought this vehicle, I was going to get the roof rack system just because I wanted to be able to have the ability to carry surfboards, bicycles, and other things that are part of my lifestyle. So I ended up going with the Tesla roof rack system for many reasons, and we will get into that within this video, but let's go ahead and start the unboxing now. These are freaking solid, holy shit. So in case you didn't know, the Tesla roof racks are actually manufactured by Yakima, and you can tell because one of the probably most unnecessary tools in the entire kit is this tape here, and it says Yakima on there, so there's not much information online about that. So yeah, come on. The reason they give you this tape is so you can locate the arrows that are on the glass tab. Now, if you look at it and you're not looking for it, it is difficult to see. So that's why they want you to measure this. It's very, very faint, but it is there right at the 31 mark. You can see the arrow that we're looking for. Now, the first step is always going to be clean the surface in which you're working, which we have already done that. Then you take the measurements, which we just kind of talked about, the 31 centimeters in or 310 millimeters. Then the next step is installing this anti-abrasion tape here. If you look at the graphs or the diagram that they've provided, it makes it very easy to figure out what goes where. So in this instance, we are doing the front driver side, and you can see the indication there. Or what the instructions are telling you to do is line up the arrow with the arrow on the glass and actually align it to the edge of the trim. So per the instructions, it would have you go here, but that's not how I have been doing it. I've actually been taking the tape and putting a little bit over the trim where it starts to round. And the reason I'm doing that is because I know that this metal clip is gonna need to be forced down there, and I'm trying to protect the inside of the paint there. And I know that ultimately, by me sacrificing a couple millimeters that way, it's not gonna make a big impact over here. I'll show you what I mean by that. All right, so I am removing the tape. I'm going to locate the arrow, which I have found it. And like I had said, I'm gonna put it a little bit over where the trim starts to bend, just to provide a little bit more protection inside there. And you can see here, I'm actually forcing it over the edge of the trim, contrary to what the instructions are having me do, because I'm trying to protect the paint on the inside of the channel. When you actually put the rubber boot or the foot or what's actually holding the rack on here, it's gonna help it from scratching the paint because it's going to move back and forth subtle over time. And again, it's just another layer of protection to put that there. So the next step we're gonna do here is use this tool that is provided. It's actually gonna help us pull that rubber gasket up so we can put the clip underneath the gasket. So by doing this, we have discovered that the easiest way is kind of start at the front where you can actually leverage the corner of it here and start peeling up that gasket and get it underneath it, and then just kind of work your way underneath and then leveraging it over. So, you know, I'm wiggling, kind of getting it a little bit deeper with the L in there, just making sure that I am fully underneath the gasket, and then I'm moving it towards the rear of the vehicle to center the actual tool with the center of the arrows. Now I'm in position here. This is exactly where I want to be. I'm underneath the gasket. I've got the tool there, and I'm ready to install the clip. This is actually what is going to hold the roof rack down to the vehicle. So when you put this clip in, there is a little metal housing that this thing is going to slide into, and that's how you know it's in position. So we know that we've done a couple of these, that there is a little bit more space on the front versus the rear of the vehicle. So we're going to pull this tool back a little bit. I'm going to take the clip. I'm going to put it in there, and I'm trying to go in between the tape and the actual tool itself. Now I've got an angle in there and just kind of a little bit of force, and it clipped in there, and then I can just remove the tool, and now it's in there. So it's moving back and forth. It's in its home position. There's a little bit of play, but not a lot, and you know it's in the metal housing because it's stuck and it's nice and firm in there. Okay, so we have all 4 clips installed. Now the next step is to put the actual rubber boots on here. I'm calling them rubber boots. I think they're just calling them the mounts. So same diagram that we had for the tape here. It's going to use the arrow indicating the front end of the vehicle, and it's actually going to emphasize what wheel or what quadrant of the vehicle we're on. And this is probably one of the easiest steps. You now have all of this work in there and you just go ahead, align the boot up and pop it down. Now, one thing we noticed with the front two is the tape that we installed actually overhangs outside of the rubber mount by probably 3 centimeters. Let me verify with my trusty Yakima tape measure. Ooh, that was way off. It's about 1 3/4 centimeters, which is a lot of millimeters. I don't even know. On the rear, it's not doing that. You can see the tape is actually completely underneath that boot and it's nice and clean. It's not able to be seen outside of the rubber mount. So far, the only thing I don't like about the rack is that they maybe should have mentioned that or given a smaller tape, or maybe a reason why it just overhangs by 18 millimeters. I'm not sure about it, but that's the only deficiency I've noted so far. Much better. Glad I have all these like random tools. Why do I even have these scissors? You know what I'm saying? Now, ultimately, most things are always easier with a little bit of help, but this can be done with one person. The front crossbar is going to be the longer out of the two. You can see here, you have a shorter one and a longer one. The longer one is gonna go up front. There's also a nice sticker on the actual top of the crossbar showing you the direction that this needs to be in. So one person install, I'm gonna take this, I'm going to align the one over there and align the one right here, and bam, she's in. I'm now going to do the same with the rear, being a little extra careful there, a little bit of alignment. It's okay if it's not perfect in there, because as long as it's resting there, I can walk over there, align it, she's on. And that's it, we're all done. It's a wrap. So there are 4 wing nuts that are included. The first step is to put the wing nut on each 4 of the locations to a hand tight position. And everyone's hand tight is a little bit different. Mine's pretty good because I'm stronger than most of you. Hand tight. All right, hand tight. So this is probably one of the more nerve-wracking parts of the installation. I do not have a torque wrench, so using the provided hex tool, we're actually gonna go through, we're gonna tighten it until it starts to seem like it's getting pretty tough. And then there are indicators on the actual wing nut itself. You can see here where you actually want it to be aligned. So I know I got a little bit more to go on this one, but ultimately you wanna make sure it's tight and not moving. That feels pretty tight. I think I can get one more turn out of it. So probably another safety interlock or a safety mechanism is when you're actually screwing down the top of the wing nut, you can see inside the bolt coming through. So what happened is if you get too tight, it's gonna automatically reject the hex tool like it just did on me. And you can see here, I don't have much more room between the top of that bolt and where my tool can fit. So to me, I just lined it up, give a little pull on it, feels sturdy, I'm good with it. Last and certainly not least, ensure that the crossbars are securely installed by pulling vigorously in all directions. Good to go. So one of the things I really appreciate about these racks versus a lot of the other ones out there is the ability to lock them. Now I can't imagine someone's gonna go through the effort of stealing these, but it probably could happen, but now they can't do it because they actually lock. So now I have these 4 covers. I don't know if they're all the same. There's no indication, so I have no idea where they go. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do, Tesla. Am I just supposed to figure it out on my own? I guess I can go through process of elimination. So removing them is gonna be more problematic because you're always gonna have that tape on that we installed before, and it's gonna be a little ugly. So it's probably best to keep these on at all times. So that was my intent already, was to keep these on all the time. So all roof racks make noise. And since I'm gonna leave these racks on at all times, I'm really curious how much noise they're going to create. So we're about to get on the interstate, travel at speeds in excess of the suggested speed limit to really see how much noise these things make. So here we are going 40 miles an hour. It's a pretty average speed, and I don't really notice the noise from the racks. So I'm at 85 miles an hour, which is a lot slower than what most people drive in Florida. So we're just being safe. We're gonna really veer on the side of caution for today's video. Anyway, back to the noise that this thing generates. 84, 85 miles an hour. I don't think it's really that bad. I mean, I can hear it, but obviously we're traveling at excessive speeds. Ultimately, the noise that they create is not a problem for me. Look at this lunatic passing me, going 90 something miles an hour. The person, oh, that's a cop, check that out. Didn't even care. The fucking cop didn't even care. He's like, oh, 85, you guys are good. All right, so to test out the new roof rack that we just installed on the Model S, we purchased the Sup Dawg from, you guessed it, Yakima, so I can actually carry my boards to the beach. Now the good thing about keeping everything Yakima is it really works well together. So this was a completely separate rack from the Tesla one, and integration was seamless. They match up wonderfully. They look pleasing, and once the racks are in, and anytime if you want to just change out the actual board holder or to a bike holder, it's very simple. I love that it locks. I love the ease of it. And now ultimately the Model S is a very sexy and sleek car. The roof racks take away from that a little bit, but not a lot. It's gonna be hard to find a roof rack that is going to match the sleekness and sexiness of the Model S, and I feel like this is a really good compromise. Ultimately, it makes it more of a versatile vehicle, and I think it's more practical now with those roof racks. And that's a wrap. I really appreciate everyone with all your comments and your likes and all the questions, whether it's related to roof racks or just anything Tesla. Feel free to leave it in the comment section. I'm making an extreme effort to respond to every single comment. One of the last videos we had someone asking about charging, which will be one of the next videos we do. It's gonna be everything from charging habits, installation, price, all of that good stuff. I might try to like just jump down. Oh. I'm just gonna go for it. Oh.